Afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing good today. Just wanted to start real quick. I mean, nothing terribly crazy, and we're not gonna have to line everything out. I want to hear you guys talk as well. We're just going to give a basic outline. There's some community comments that were made about trying to make this a little bit more regular. That's really what we're going for, and trying to mix up some of the teammates so you're getting a little bit of everybody's perspective. Um, I'd also like to thank the team that's helping to launch this because I'm learning through it too. I'm going to have to process map this one out after, but Capers, Anon, DNSK, also Wasso, thank you very much. I do have a fear of public speaking, so this is terrifying to me. It's way easier than just random Telegram chat, but this is about the learning process. This is about the learning process for me. That's exactly why I wanted to jump in here. We can all learn together. We can answer some questions. We can just face it head on. So again, the team that's helping, thank you so much. You're helping me through this more than you realize, probably. So I do listen on a lot of platforms, Telegram, Discord, Reddit, Twitter, everything. I'm scouring. I'm also talking to people one-on-one. I jump into groups whenever I can. But we have some questions from Discord, from Reddit. We've had comments tossed out, and we've had some new visitors show up as well. It's been an interesting week, but a lot of fun. So I'm actually just going to ask Wasso, do you have anything you wanted to say out the gate too?
Can everyone hear me?
I got you.
All right, awesome. First, wanted to say, thank you very much for everyone that's here with us. A lot of us have been working really, really hard from, the core developers all the way down to, people who are just active in our chats, whether it be on Twitter or our main Telegram. Just wanted to say everyone here is putting in a lot of work, and I'm very happy everyone was able to put aside some time this weekend to, really understand what we have ahead of us and to see what exactly it is the community is interested in, concerned about. We're really hoping to have just a very open conversation with everybody. So thank you again, and looking forward to learning exactly what it is our team wants.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, this is two parts of something here. We have folks that are stepping up, trying to become more involved, learning every day. We also have our community members, all of you conversation with us. You're telling us where we're steering the ship, not just from feedback, comments, anything. You're also putting in your own hard work. There's a lot of people that are doing that, not just once or twice. I mean, daily work. They're taking on their own projects. They're getting a chance to try things. I've heard this a few times, and this is the same for me. A lot of us are getting a chance to really flex who we are as a person right now, and we're doing it together, and it just feels awesome. And I think you can also realize why I might be involved in HR just from the way I speak. I really do care about people. That's exactly what I'm here for. That's why I want to be involved with you all. So just to kick it off, I'm just going to start talking a little bit about the core team, some of the things we've been up to. Hogeman was kind enough to throw up a nice announcement that referred to the you all. So just to kick it off, I'm just going to start talking a little bit about the core team, some of the things we've been up to. Hogeman was kind enough to throw up a nice announcement that referred to the new updates that we're going to be having to the roadmap. Everybody's been working pretty hard, and we're trying to keep everything updated at the same time. We're seeing a lot of our movement happening and clicking very well right now. We're reacting as a team much better because, fortunately, we heard you. We're adding a little bit more structure now. We're finding folks that are stepping into these team lead situations, and they're bringing the rest of the team together. And it's not even necessarily a leader. It's just this awesome group of folks that come together, pick up their own project, all their projects out. Everything is full open discussion. Just like in our public chats, other AMAs, things like that. Honesty is first. We have to make sure we're paying attention to the community. We actually hear you the right way. Anybody that brings a project, they're communicating it correctly. We're making sure that we're signing off on everything all the way through so we don't inadvertently miss anything or have a misstep. And we are definitely getting much better. And I hope you all see that too. But the structure that we're bringing in with these different departments is also incorporating all of the accountability that we've been talking about. This type structure of autonomy, definance, it just brings an extra layer of accountability to everything we do as individuals. And we bring the honesty first to protect everybody. And now we're realizing we need to focus on that education. And we bring the honesty first to protect everybody. And now we're realizing we need to focus on that education. We trust you. Everybody is doing great. We look forward to hearing the rest about this. And any questions, let's bring them all forward and just have a big conversation together. Thank you again for being here.
Hey, Recon. So I just jumped back in. I went into the Telegram chat just to make sure that everybody knows that we're starting up. I think the official time we had starting was 2 o'clock, right?
Yeah, yep, it was. It was. Maybe I got a little excited.
No,
Very
it's
possible.
no, it's all good, man. We haven't dove into anything too deep and specific yet, so I think I think I think we're doing just fine. But I definitely do want to hold off before starting on anything on the agenda for another 5 minutes. Doing just fine. But I definitely do want to hold off before starting on anything on the agenda for another 5 minutes.
Absolutely good with that. Totally fine by me. All right, looks like folks are coming over. Seeing some activity in Telegram. Wasso, how you doing today, man? I haven't even had a chance to really catch up with
Coming on to support us. But yeah, it was definitely a long conversation. But yeah, I've been well, man. How you been? Anything new these days?
just keeping on, doing well, ready for summer, I think. That sounds nice to me.
Yeah, you and me
Oh,
both, man. I'm really
man,
hoping, the next few weeks for us, we're gonna grind it out pretty hard, but hopefully we can get to a place, in the next 30 to 45 days where, we can have an enjoyable summer.
yeah, I think we're getting there. It's definitely right path for sure. I'm looking forward to a little bit of outdoor time. But I back to that TG, man. You guys own that TG voice chat. Every time I see it live, I have to like resist jumping in. It just pulls me in. He knows me.
That's hilarious, man. Honestly, I'm the same. A lot of times I'll like look at it and I'll be like, oh shit, there's like 70, 80, 90 people in there. Let me just jump in real quick. And then I end up getting caught from what I thought was going to be maybe like a 10-minute, let me just throw a couple updates at the team, to all of a sudden it's like, wow, I just spent 3 hours here.
Right? Every time it just, you can't stop. Everybody starts talking and it pulls me in.
Yeah, I think it's been a really nice feature, man. I definitely love the idea of anyone that's interested in Hose jumping into the live chat, getting feedback from all different community members and team members. And honestly, I wish we did it sooner. I wish we had it around, a month ago.
Yeah, yeah. And I just
And team members, and honestly, I wish we did it sooner. I wish we had it around, a month ago.
yeah, yeah. And I just hearing what everybody's saying, I'm very happy to be here. Again, slightly nervous of public speaking, but this is exactly how we figure this stuff out. This is all learning experience, the whole thing. So I appreciate, again, everybody for being here just to hear us out a little bit. I'm looking forward to the live part personally. I just love talking to you guys. It's so much fun. So again, I'm just going to recap. I did get a little excited. I started out earlier, but again, I have to thank Capers, Anand, DNSK, and again, Wasso. Wasso is my rock. Codex is here too. Uh, so kicking us off earlier, Hogeman was kind enough to throw up some updates on the announcements and Reddit. He does a fantastic job of just throwing those out, getting everything in line, and just letting us know what's coming up. He even outlined this thing to the third quarter. We just started Q2. We have things planned in Q3 and Q4 already. So really looking forward to just touching on a few of
All
those.
right, hello everyone, and we are live and streaming. So thank you Reconlion and Wasso for a bit of banter there, and thank you, as they've said, to all of you for joining us here this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are. So this will be recorded via MP3. This will also be streaming on Twitch. I've put the Twitch stream in Telegram and on the Discord. You can see that address there. So the format, this is the new staging area that Microsoft, the brand new owners of Discord, use sort of formats. So everyone, if you're in here, you'll see a little hand icon at the bottom of your screen next to the Exit Quietly red button. If you've got a question to ask one of our guests, you just put your hand up. I can see someone's done that. 2 people have done that. Excellent. And basically, as we can see, as the questions come through, or as the people who want to say things come through, who's next in the queue, and you'll get to ask your question. We only do have an hour, so if you can keep your questions short and sharp. And for Reconlion and Wasso, I know you both like to talk about Hoge. But yeah, if you can keep your answers on point and short and sharp as well, that would be awesome. So I'm going to unmute our guests, and we shall begin. Do we have a first question from the floor? No questions?
That's okay.
Here we go. Okay, Izendos, you're up. What's your question, buddy? No?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yep, we can. Oh, and you dropped off again. You probably have to ask that question. It may be that it's time limited. We haven't played with this before. So Sleek Mouse, you're up. Sleek Mouse.
For everyone that joins, there's a push to talk option, so you may have to actually push to talk.
Yeah, got it. Okay, I found it. Is that right? Can you hear me?
Hear you,
Yes,
man.
we can. Loud and clear.
Okay. Yep, glad to hear you. Okay. Is the next exchange going to be in Asia? Is my question.
I can't answer that.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we would like to answer a lot of these things directly, like we're so used to, some of these parts they have non-disclosure agreements, things like that. We can't answer, unfortunately. But community is always the first to know.
I believe the answer then is it might be in Asia. You never know your luck.
I can definitely say that the exchange has a lot of Asian customers, as do a lot of the large global exchanges. But I'm sure you understand, man, why we said we can't answer that.
All right.
Hello.
Thanks for that question. Isendos, you're up.
Okay. Yes. So can you?
Why we said we can't answer that.
All right.
Hello.
Thanks for that question. Isendos, you're up.
Okay. Yes. So can you hear me now?
We can
Hel-
indeed.
Awesome. So this is my first time getting into anything like this, and basically my question was, I'm a part of a huge underground street dance community, and I wanted to be able to use Hoge as a new payment to be able to buy merch, prize pool money, entry fees for these types of dance events that go on. And I have a huge platform, and I wanted to know more about how I could possibly use Hoge as a payment for something like that, and if I would need to go through anything specific to be able to get that ball rolling.
Very good question, gentlemen.
First off, thank you very much for being here, man. Very happy to have you as a part of the community and very excited about your platform. So I'm part of the business development team that's working on, partnerships and kind of like this strategic, alliances with other platforms. So please, if you can, shoot a note to the email, or if you'd prefer to shoot me.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That'd be fun. We're exploring pretty much anything that the community's bringing to us with the plan right now. Um, and just like Wasso said, we're coming together like departments or better cohesion and teams and really hitting stride right now. We love to hear these ideas.
Also, just a reminder to everyone, you can ask a question in the hashtag AMA channel, the voice chat that goes along with that. And Kafers will pick up your questions there and pass them along. Okay, next question. Malik. There, and pass them along. Okay, next question. Malik. You're up, buddy.
Yeah, hello. I asked you before in Telegram, but I want to explain. Can you explain exactly what happened?
I'm not.
Hi, Malik. Hi, Malik. How are you?
Thank you.
If you can, very good. Happy to hear that. I'm not sure I understand your question exactly. Can you like rephrase it or maybe try and explain it to me a little bit differently, please? Can we please get her back in the chat?
You can also, if you can't get back in the chat, okay, good. If you can't get back in the chat, okay, good.
I've manually invited her back to speak. No? Or Malik, if you can hear us, yeah, if you can clarify your question, that would be great. In the meantime, Skynad.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we hear you, man.
Yep,
Doing
yep,
good. How
loud
are
and
you?
clear.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of questions about this one specific exchange that you have NDA with, So for me, from my side, that would be more interesting. What is there anything else going on in the background that you can actually disclose or talk about? So the big hype is this one exchange, right? So is there anything
Outside of the scope of the
So
exchange.
it can be either of those, anything that will, significantly impact the, let's say, Hoge in a, let's say, a social way, or like exposure to new investors and so on.
Understood. Understood completely. So Recon, I'm gonna take this question and I'm gonna really focus on the parts
Mhm.
that I'm personally involved in, and then outside of my scope, maybe you could comment at the end and just and share if there's anything else that I'm missing, because I'm not too involved with NFTs and certain other merchandising and marketing things we're doing.
Yeah.
But things that I know for sure, right? So we've had a bit of a bottleneck where we've had some slowdown, largely because we haven't had legal established. From my understanding, within the next 7 days, we'll have our legal bit of a bottleneck where we've had some slowdown, largely because we haven't had legal established. From my understanding, within the next 7 days, we'll have our legal entity formed and it'll have the ability to sign contracts. This legal entity is going to be a nonprofit. So for me, this is relatively a big piece of information, right? You're going to have a legal entity and it's going to be a nonprofit. Once we have that entity created, we can countersign the contract with the exchange. At that point, we can share with the community what the exchange, who the exchange is. So within the next 7 days, based on what I just said, the community should know whom the next exchange will be. We're going to be doing some significant marketing with the exchange, right? They've committed to multiple newsletters, multiple tweets, YouTube mentions in their YouTube videos, newsletters that get emailed out to their users in multiple languages. I don't know if I said this already, but a pinned Telegram message on their Telegram for like a week. In addition to that, we're going to do some significant marketing on our side, right? Once everybody knows, we're a meme token, right? We want everyone to go out and create memes and, really try and get as much exposure out there as possible. My hopes, and again, this is just my best estimates at this point, largely, or I would rather say entirely dependent on how long legal takes to finalize. 2 weeks from now. A week after that, if I'm counting days correctly, a week after that, we'll have our CERTIC audit finalized. The current date they've given us for completion is April 24th, which falls on a Saturday. They don't work on Saturdays. They're a Monday through Friday kind of company. So we should have, that audit, I'm guessing like the 22nd, 23rd, something like that Thursday or Friday. So that's really, the next 3 weeks is what it's going to look like for Hoge. Something that I thought was also kind of exciting was there's a really well-known PR firm called the Transform Group. And for everyone here, you should write that down or Google it really quickly, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Called the Transform Group. And for everyone here, you should write that down or Google it really quickly, just so you can see what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. Transform Group. They're a well-known, large PR firm that focuses specifically within the crypto world. They came recommended from one of our community members, and we engaged with them last week. They're going to be putting together a proposal. They've also offered to do a community AMA where they will come into either this Discord platform or our Telegram voice channel and explain to the community what they're going to do for us. The idea behind using this Telegram group, and I definitely want to say we have an amazing, writers and what do I call them? I guess the people who put together the announcements. That function isn't really going to go away. But what we're going to have is, hopefully, if the community agrees, a firm that has relationships with big YouTubers and journalists at both crypto and non-crypto platforms like CoinDesk, or maybe like a Forbes or a Bloomberg, or those kind of mainstream household news outlets. And the idea is, to get Hoge spreading as wide and far as we possibly can. And for me, that's one of the most exciting things, if the community, does agree to move forward with something like this, is to have someone who's going to take all of the good that's coming out of Hoge, whether it be the charitable donations, the new exchange listing, whether it be the first meme coin audit ever completed by Certic, and take and exciting news and kind of spread it, to communities that maybe we don't have a full grasp of. I've spent some time trying to reach out to journalists, and it's been, it's not as easy as other things. So those are just a few things that I'm involved in, and a bunch of our community members are involved in, and some exciting things that I think are gonna come forward. But Recon, if you want to add to that or comment, that's all I have.
I'll just add a few quick things. I'm fortunate to have a lot of involvement just with people on a day-to-day basis in Hoge. You can find a lot of these things in the announcements, like maybe something with esports going on tonight. I heard that sounds like a lot of fun. We've been looking at different use cases. Hogeman talked about some new bridge options. We have a lot of R&D and looking at just crypto in general. For people right now that they're doing like crypto R&D, basically just looking at the markets from every single angle to see if they can find anything. But apart from just the projects themselves, the core team is also focused with the other main departments, as we would say, and the people that are owning these projects, and we're helping them to succeed. That's really what we're trying to do, is just help you succeed with your project as a community. And that's how we're just going to keep everything rolling, just like the next round of NFTs coming out too. And we did have another, let's see, I think it was Blazin sent a message in. What are some accomplishments that set Hoge apart from other coins in the D flat? I think D-Finance scene maybe. So I would say as a whole, we are really building the foundation the right way. If you look at other cryptos, other businesses too, successful businesses, they focus on the people, the community. We started there inadvertently, and we are just fortunate that we're able to build it all with you. That's really where we like to start. And I did mention a little early, but we've been discussing a lot of new things and other ideas too. The core group, like learning development, education too. We want to be the friendly space that you come to learn crypto. What does it do? Where do I start? I think you're going to see some more movement on that front soon as well.
Cool. Next up, we have Nitrama. And as I invite him in, I'll just remind anyone working in the background that if you DM me, it is popping up on the stream and it will appear in the Twitch. And if you make me change channels, it'll also pop up on the screen. So Nitrama in the Twitch, and if you make me change channels, it'll also pop up on the screen. So Nitrama. Nitrama.
You have to unmute your mic. I see your mic's muted, and then maybe push to talk after.
There we go.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry about that. So my question is regarding the tokenomics of Hoge. I just wanted to know if the new exchanges coming forward will actually be adopting our tokenomics, because I know that was an issue with Whitebit and the users on there not getting to actually take advantage of the redistribution.
Yeah, it's a good question, man. Difficult with exchanges, they operate under one wallet, and for them, it's all of the conversations that I've had with these exchanges. It's Hoge has several hundred transactions every hour, and we would have to do this calculation and figure out how to give it, and it's just very new, this type of tokenomic, and it's definitely made it difficult with exchanges, which is, when we go into these, negotiations, we are really focused on trying to get the most out of the exchanges getting, those tokens, which is why you've seen, with BKX, there's been an airdrop, and, they've committed to continuing to do airdrops. They do them, I think they said they're going to do them weekly, and maybe like, it was 2 days ago, and we were discussing what they're going to be doing with, the first month or so's hoge tokens, which ended up being, just right around $40,000. And we decided that, it's going to go to a charity, and, that charity is going to be chosen between both organizations. And to go back to like the question from before, like this is another like pretty big news item, I don't know too many tokens and communities that are, less than 2 months old that are able to make, a $40,000 charitable donation within that time frame. But the hopes with future exchanges is to get, very similar results to the two that I described now, either
Yeah.
airdrops or tokenomics, or either
Yeah.
airdrops or tokenomics, or a donation, back to maybe the hoge nonprofit, or mutually agreed, donations. But in my mind, it goes like this: first, get it back for the community, and if I can't get it back for the community, it's got to go to charity. But that's kind of the mindset of how I approach that.
See, I got a question in here from Rockstone. Let's see, insight on how the hoge tokens are planned for use beside just holding. So part of the tokenomics, holding is great. The other half of that answer is relational to the use cases, which, I mean, Hogeman, Wasso, everybody's really playing a part. We even have some stores that are accepting this, even one in the UK that have some stores that are accepting this, even one in the UK that sells drones. You can buy it with Hoge. These are all steps in the right direction. And back to what Wasso was saying, as we build this up, that's our leverage. Exchanges, they don't understand the tokenomics yet, but this is how we build the leverage to make it better for the community.
Yeah, look, I don't want to overhype use cases right now. There are definitely a bunch of sites that are accepting Hoge. I know daily I hear of different ways, Hoge could become readily accepted. There was a question earlier about us being part of a very large underground dance platform. So the use cases are going to continue to come up. But at this point, I wouldn't feel right over hyping, or give us another month and a couple of weeks to come up with some pretty solid use cases.
Yeah, apologies if I made that sound like this is a right now. This is, everything's being worked on at the same time. We're just seeing everything develop together, and as these people and as our communities driving those projects.
Cool. All right, let's keep it rolling along. I'm actually going to jump to Zero, because I know Zero wanted to ask a question before and then jumped out and then jumped back in again, being on mobile. So Zero, you're up.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Okay, so I was just going to ask, is there a max burn off, or like a cap on the burn off? And if there isn't, what will you do to incentivize trading of hoge to prevent the coin from being stagnant? To prevent the coin from being stagnant.
I don't know offhand, but I did write down your question. Wasso, do you happen to know? And if not, we can always get back. Our plan is any questions that we don't have right now for an answer, we can get back, put it in an announcement somewhere. That's
Well, the reason I ask is because, well, I'm new to crypto, but the way that I see it is, once you do all these burns, and the other guy brought it up in a previous question about, you don't get the staking on the exchanges, but once you've burned off a certain amount, I feel like the price is just going to settle because the whales are going to sell off. Everybody's going to sell off when it gets high. So what can we do to keep that price moving upward? And so,
all right, perfect. So I definitely want to start off by saying I'm not the most technical, more heavily focused on the business development side, but I can answer this question a bit. And we will definitely get you a response, a very proper technical response. But I do know we started off with 50% of the tokens burned. Once we reach 70% of the tokens burned, there is a reduction in burn amount. And then, if there's always a 1% reduction of every transaction, you actually never hit zero. And the idea is that, as there's a reduction in supply, we're able to keep the market cap relatively low, and creating demand, obviously, as the supply goes less and less and less. But I definitely think that we will get you a more technical response. A way that kind of I've looked at it is if you guys recall, there's a very well-known article out there of there's a Bitcoin purchase that was done when Bitcoin first came out, and it was 15,000 Bitcoins for, one pie of pizza or two pies of pizza. I'd imagine we're going to be seeing the same with Hoge. Currently, we're dealing with Hoge in the, millions and the thousands and 10,000s, and eventually, as time goes on, we're not going to be seeing too many, billion or $1 million transactions within Hoge. And that's my very business development response to that.
Yeah, my very HR response is I can definitely get you an answer afterwards.
And that's my very business development response to that.
Yeah, my very HR response is I can definitely get you an answer afterwards. I'm very much a people person. I keep up on the technical, but we can circle back with you later as well. We can post this for you.
Cool. Clarity 123, your question, please.
Hi. So thanks first of all for hosting a meeting. Thanks for all the Hoge holders out there. Whoever's running the Hoge radio, that's just an awesome project. And I get to check in on that every couple of days. It's pretty great. So it looks like we have 37,000 holders right now. It feels like the greatest asset to me for Hoge is the community. And I was just wondering, as far as use cases, a lot of the stuff's pie in the sky, game development, using it as a currency. It feels like it's far away, but I was wondering if there's any thought given to use cases where we can actually leverage this community. And then if somebody were to use a big crowd of people, they would buy the Hoge in order to do it. And then that would make the value of our token go up. So that's my question.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. I mean, the use case stuff again, you're right. I mean, we're all driving towards the right direction. That's really where we have to start. And we're helping every community's plans. They make sense. Even the NFT mint that Hogeman ran, that was round one. We'll have round two soon. And we're also building these other bridges to lower gas fees. We are seeing things come together. It's really just us and the cohesion of how we work together in these different departments and projects and coordinate them. We're funneling a lot better. We have more things coming. We're just waiting because we have to have the plan fully drawn out. We don't want to just say, hey, somebody has a great idea, and then just, hey, community, here it is. We have to make sure everything's thought out. The last thing we'd want to do is potentially misstep and hurt our community. So we have to go through that vetting process, but it is bringing us closer to those use cases that you're talking about. And they don't all have to be big. They can be small, and they will make a difference.
What kind of platform or exactly what kind of organization you were thinking. So if you could answer, let us know. And if you can't, please DM me it. And I'd love to know exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah, I can answer it. And obviously, like, I don't have a specific example. I was just trying to think of like promotional use cases. Like, what is the community really good at doing right now? It's like promoting Hoge. So if somebody needed their own product promoted in such a way, like, we could like crowdsource this energy we have, like outsource meme production, or that kind of. It's more like advertising. Just trying to bring energy to a new product. So it's kind of just a general suggestion, but that's just something that came to me. Yeah,
I actually
kind of just a general suggestion, but that's just something that came to me. Yeah,
I actually like it a lot. And I'm happy I asked that question, because now I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I would say, if anyone has any ideas of any products or any relationships with those who own or control, product promotion and advertising, and if it's something that aligns with Hoge, I think we should definitely consider doing it, especially if we could allocate a component of it to some charity. I really think that's a good idea.
Cool. I'm going to go to one from the floor now. This is from Kiefer. Wasso brought up last night the idea of paying for a PR program with Transform. Don't we have enough extra go through with this without having need for further donations?
So I haven't checked how much is in the donation wallet. I think that if there is enough in the donation wallet and it is something that both the community and the development team agree on, then yes, it should come out of the donation wallet. But for any reason, if the community doesn't agree with it, or the development team doesn't agree with it, and I'd imagine they really only wouldn't agree with it if the community doesn't agree with it, then we shouldn't do that. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that's really it. It's going to be, we have to make sure that we understand that process first too. It's great to be in touch with these people, but we also are learning that if we kind of run before we walk, like Wasso said, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot sometimes, and we're really doing our best for bringing that up.
Excellent. Cyrus, your question, please.
Hey, thanks guys for taking time answering our questions. I saw the announcement that Hogeman posted up yesterday regarding the sidechain with, I think was it Medic Network or Polygon now. I know that it's have some implication with the gaming esport development. Can you explain that just from like an overview standpoint to see how would that have a play in day-to-day trading or anything? Is that something that we could use to lower the gas fees?
There are conversations going on about ways to do that, and really that's a great one for Hogeman and the dev team to answer. There are conversations going on about ways to do that, and really that's a great one for Hogeman and the dev team to answer. Wasso's really more business dev. I really am an HR person. I hear a lot of things, but I understand these concepts, but I don't think I'm going to be able to answer that one fully. If you want to DM that question into the AMA, we can pick that up and add it to the list as well. I have it written down. I just want to make sure I'm getting your perspective as well.
Awesome. Just keeping an eye on the time here. We'll keep it moving along. So next one, I'll jump back to the floor again. From Dubs, do we have plans to integrate with BSC? It would seem more appropriate than Matic or XDAI as a temporary solution.
About BSC, right? Lower gas fees, and it's very difficult to attract, new holders due to, the high Ethereum gas fees. For me, my opinion on that, and I'm hoping, some people are interested in my opinion on that. It's that we should continue with what we have ahead of us over these next 3 to 4 weeks. We're also going to see Uniswap 3.0, where it's going to slightly reduce, those Ethereum fees for everyone that swaps on Uniswap. But I think we should just kind of wait and see what happens over the next, 30 days before, we decide to jump into a bridge to BSC. That's my comment on it for now. I definitely want everyone to know that we're going to get a response to all of these questions, and I will have a response to this BSC question, formally from the core dev team. I definitely want everyone to know that we're going to get a response to all of these questions, and I will have a response to this BSC question, formally from the core dev team.
Excellent. Cool. Next we have Claudio Abraham. What's your question, mate? Claudia, you with us? All right.
That's okay. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
that's
catch
right.
her up.
We'll move on to Martabok if you're there. Martabok, do you have a question? Excellent.
Yes. Can everyone hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
And the NFT program. And do you think that, that those two directions are necessarily in opposition to each other?
So I got the one direction. The one direction is the NFT direction. What was the other direction?
As a store of value. And so I guess if as a store of value versus, say, a means of payment and the NFT things, I guess what I'm saying is, will having more utility for Hoge disincentivize holding?
I understand your question. I think we need to be moving in both directions, right? We want to have, we do have, right, the ability. We want to have, we do have, right, the ability to hold and be incentivized, but to grow and to adopt new holders, we're going to have some need for use cases. And I think moving in both directions is the way, we're able to really grow this community, grow the value of the coin, and have this project be, financially beneficial to charities, to our holders, and to everyone involved.
Yeah, and it definitely speaks more to the DeFi space as well, which is, I mean, the utility is exactly how we get a chance to use it the way that we want to. So we have the incentive to hold, but it's also pretty, yeah, and it definitely speaks more to the DeFi space as well, which is, I mean, the utility is exactly how we get a chance to use it the way that we want to. So we have the incentive to hold, but it's also pretty great to find a way to use it too. We're figuring both of those out in tandem, just so we're on the same page, we're moving forward, but they have to build each other at the same time. We can't always just pick one and go.
Cool. Thank you. So Claudia's still not joined us. Sky, you've had a question, so we'll come back to you, mate. I'm going to jump to Pancake Deluxe. Pancake?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, sweet. Yeah, guys, thanks for having this. Really appreciate it. Thanks. The stuff going on with L2 and XDAI, and he was saying how It's like a side chain, and it runs next to Ethereum, and it's a means of mitigating some of the gas fees. Could you guys maybe explain it for someone who's not that knowledgeable, like how that would look from beginning to end, like how that would benefit someone? Is it a matter of purchasing Hoge, or is it for other like micro interactions? Maybe just like a simple for dummies like explanation of that. I just want to relay that information and share it with others.
My understanding of it is more or less what yours is at this point. That we have a group of esports and gamers who are interested in using Hoge. The gas fees associated with Hoge are expensive because of the Ethereum gas, and that this gives us an opportunity to do microtransactions within the platforms of these gaming groups, using XDAI to have lesser gas fees. That is really the extent of my my understanding of it, and I only learned about it yesterday.
Actually, I might jump in on this one. I answered this same question in the Telegram AMA earlier. So the best way to think about it in an analogy sense is most people involved in crypto know how the internet works. So we have in the internet what we call tier one providers. So they're your AT&Ts in Australia. It's your Telstra, your NBNs. Every country in the world has a major backbone provider of the internet. Now, you can, as an individual user, if you're rich enough, use their services, but it's not cost effective. That's why we all use ISPs. ISPs are basically a level 2 internet service provider. They buy a whole lot of wholesale internet bandwidth, and then they resell it off to the rest of us. So that's what the L2 is in a blockchain sense. Ethereum, the Ethereum main is essentially the tier one backbone of blockchain. In this case, by moving to an L2 provider where it's all abstracted off and they're aggravating a bit more and they can do different things with gas, we get services cheaper. We get services that tend to be a lot more specialized. In this case, we're talking about gaming and microtransactions. There's other L2 services such as Uniswap, where it's an exchange, for instance. And really, that's why we do it. It's an economy of scale for the actual for the coin that we're using. And it just means that we're not dealing directly with that backbone, which has that higher gas fees. And that's probably the simplest way to think about it is we're maturing as has that higher gas fees. And that's probably the simplest way to think about it is we're maturing as, as blockchain matures, and we're going off to more specialized providers who can give us better rates and cheaper gas.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great educational response, and I caught it earlier and was so thankful. You do a great job breaking it down. And again, to Wasso's point on this one, just waiting a few days, we see new things in the crypto sphere evolving, coming out, and people talking about it all over on Twitter, Reddit, any place. It's really neat to keep up on, and every day brings something new.
Yeah, any code anyway, we could get him back. I think he had a follow-up question.
We can indeed. Hang on a second. Just got to scroll down and find him. There he is. Invite to speak. Pancake, you're back.
Really appreciate that as a side chain, cheaper fees, as you said, like an aggregate, letting you to do other tasks. Like you said, you made the analogy with like ISP, buying wholesale, reselling. So with L2, that it's like that in a blockchain sense. So you're not buying Hoge. Like at first I was confused thinking, oh, you get XDAI and then you get like Hoge with that. I don't know why I was thinking that, but this is for like other purposes by like wrapping it with XDAI. Is that kind of the sense?
Well, when you wrap something, what you're doing is you're taking a native token and you're allowing it to be used on another platform. So again, love my analogies. Wrapping a coin is exactly the same as having a PlayStation 4 game that suddenly you can play on the Xbox. It's still sitting in your PlayStation 4, but you can stream it over to your Xbox and you can play it there. And it's still sitting over on the PlayStation. You haven't actually swapped your token. What you're doing is you're just allowing it to be used on a different. It's still sitting over on the PlayStation. You haven't actually swapped your token. What you're doing is you're just allowing it to be used on a different platform. So that's what the wrapping does. So things like XDAI. In terms of what makes it an L2 is we're not moving to another blockchain. So we're not moving to Bitcoin, for instance. It's not like you're swapping out an Ethereum BRC20 token for a Bitcoin token. What you're doing is you're basically going, I'm going to let that token be used on this platform, even though it's still sitting over there. It's still backed by the hard asset sitting on the Ethereum chain. It's just a virtualized version of it that then plays over in this other space, and that's what that L2 bit starts to do. So it's the L2 is the aggregate bit. The wrapper just lets it be used on a different platform. So you can have an L2 Ethereum provider. In that case, you wouldn't need the wrapper. That case, you wouldn't need the wrapper. You're just doing more specialized stuff. But in this case, because it's a side chain and it's off the main Ethereum network and it's using a different protocol and everything else, we're just letting it be used over there, if that makes sense. And that's my very poor man's analogy of it, but that's roughly how it works.
It was a lot better than mine, man.
Yeah, you explained it very well, very easy to understand, and I'll make sure to share that information with others. Yeah, with XDAI, like, is there a scenario in your head, like maybe that you could say, like, hey, like if I hopped on that platform, like maybe you could run down a scenario of what someone would do, like they would go on there, swap it, and is there something that they would buy with that? Like, if you could maybe just like do like a hypothetical scenario of someone using HoneySwap, like what that would look. Hypothetical scenario of someone using HoneySwap, like what that would look like.
I don't, but if I was going to have a stab at it, and if you were going to say that Hoge was like a currency reserve in that sense, the XDAI becomes the dollar that's backed by the Hoge, right? It's still, the Hoge is still sitting there over on the blockchain, but you can take your little XDAI token and do whatever you do with XDAI tokens. I don't know off the top of my head what you do with XDAI tokens, but I assume it's something. And it's probably something useful like playing a game or buying something or getting a goods and service.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that was a great question. This is a good opportunity for us to turn that into some homework, so you don't have to feel like you're doing all the explaining. We can also look into coming out with something that can explain it better as well. That's a good.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that, and I'll be sure to share that information. Took all the notes. You explained it so easy for me to understand now. It all makes sense now.
Awesome. Cool. And thank you for the question. Yeah. Skynad, you're up with your second question, and then we'll take one from the floor in the AMA text chat.
Yeah, hi guys. Last one from my side. I'm going back to Clarity's point on PR and community ideas, right? So my question is, we have a lot of people within the community who bring out a lot of good suggestions, but my observation being here for like a month is that a lot of those ideas really go unnoticed. So my question is, do you plan to have like a monthly or like a weekly basis AMA dedicated to the community? You host AMA specifically for those ideas, and maybe at the end of the month you come, with a presentation. Okay, this is the consolidated list of ideas what the community had, right? And then the community kind of votes on what would be the best initiative or PR initiative, marketing initiative, or any other initiative for that case. So to summarize that, do you plan to have kind of a monthly, let's say, conversation with the community with the consolidated list of the ideas that community provide to the team?
Yeah, that is absolutely the plan, and kind of part of where we were going on the structure comment from earlier was we have to build that kind of organization within every team first. We are doing that already. That's part of the speed and the cohesion that we're seeing the past few weeks. We are only 2 months old, but kind of organization within every team first. We are doing that already. That's part of the speed and the cohesion that we're seeing the past few weeks. We are only 2 months old, but we are really hitting a nice clip right now. And I like the idea of putting those things out there as well. So far, Hogeman has been very consistent in his roadmap updates and announcements to the community. This is step one of doing a more consistent AMA. So that is a plan moving forward, just from the community response saying they wanted to see it more frequently on a regular basis. So we can definitely add the structure. This one right here, Wasso and Codex are helping out. We have some other folks in the background too, but again, I'm really an HR person. I'm a people person, all about the community. I get a chance to really interact with everyone and see what directions we're going in and working on. But that structure is definitely
we're doing, and we're getting I think the community has a bit of a better understanding of exactly what's ahead of us. But we would have gotten so much more out of AMA, I believe, if it was, let's say, focused entirely on business development and HR, right? Because those are the two functions that Recon and I focus on. So I definitely, man, I like your suggestion. I think we should find a way to have, more focused AMAs. I think I took that away. We also need a way to have, community members make easy and quick suggestions. An idea pops up, maybe they email it, maybe they place on Hoge Nation where they can post it. I think that's a very good idea. And then I think having like a big monthly update is also a really good idea. I think we will definitely have, a big update or a big AMA at the end of April. I think we will definitely have, a big update or a big AMA at the end of April. And then as far as voting for exactly, which initiatives we move forward with, that I think that's something that we must do, right? We are a community token, and we do our best to follow exactly what the community thinks. And a lot of us have been spending a lot of time in those voice chats, and that's where I've been taking a lot of what people are saying. So I definitely suggest maybe we join those voice chats maybe a little bit more, or we find a better means of getting exactly what it is that the community is saying. Because I definitely didn't like when I heard you say, the community, some of the stuff that the community is suggesting isn't making it to us. We definitely do not want that to be the case. At least no. I definitely didn't like when I heard you say, the community, some of the stuff that the community is suggesting isn't making it to us. We definitely do not want that to be the case. At least no longer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we do really look at every platform. We have a lot of people that bring things to us, and we try and address everything as best we can. But things move so quickly, and we've also touched on that point of accountability. And we love it when people bring concerns to us. We can address it head on. It's great. But on the other side, we also love it when folks have these ideas and they want to carry them, even if it's all the way through themselves, or they just want to join the team, or if they want to do a passive handoff, they can on an idea. It just runs a higher risk of potentially just waiting a little longer, either for ownership, or we might have other things that we're just waiting on. So it'll make that project that much easier.
And no, he's still there. We'll take him off request to speak. We'll take one from the floor from Blazon T. Another question. Was the legal entity being set up required by the exchange that will be announced soon, which means, and does that mean that competing coins would also have to set up as legals to list there as well? And do other exchanges require this?
Very good question. The exchange we're going to required a legal entity, meaning an address, like a tax ID code, for example, if you're within like the United States, and they required the name of the incorporated entity, which we do not have yet, but is coming in the next 7 days. With exchanges that require that, yes, of course, competing coins will need to get that. With Whitebit, we did not have to have a legal entity, which is why we were listed there when we were, and the same goes with BKX. But I imagine, actually, I'm pretty certain that every exchange that's to come, from this one that's coming in 2 weeks to all others that follow, we will be required to provide our, legal entity, or, our corporate, nonprofit, whatever you want to call it. But we will need to provide a legal entity for every exchange that's going to come ahead of us. We also need that legal entity for partnerships. Imagine, we had our friend earlier talking about that underground dance platform. They're going to want to sign a contract, right, to know exactly what they're going to get and what we're going to get. So
Yeah, the legal side of that, it's dual.
we're going to get. So
Yeah, the legal side of that, it's dual purpose. It's meant to protect everybody involved. We see that as one of the biggest securities that we can show the community, is that, I mean, it can sound boring sometimes, sure, but we are driving it for really the right reasons. We want to see the protection to everybody, continue that honesty and transparency the best we can when we can. But that legal structure is the foundation for, like Wasso said, the next steps we're going to be taking, as well as security for the community and for Hoge at large.
definitely, I really would like for everyone to just really understand that once we have legal done, we become like legitimate, where a real recognized organization identify themselves and, link themselves to this project. And, so many times, like I'll give you guys an example. We got listed on CoinGecko. I wanted to do, some advertisement on CoinGecko, maybe like a banner that says, Hoge, DeFi meme token, just to let some people in the crypto world know who we are. And they wouldn't even take our money for an advertisement because we didn't have, profiles of, the development team and the leadership of our community on our website. So there's going to be a lot of doors that open up for us once we have legal finalized.
Cool. All right, Claudio, we're going to go with round 2 and see if you can come and ask your question.
Can you listen to me? Hi?
Hi, we can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Sorry, my bad English. Okay, first of all, thank you for all what you are doing about the coin and all the legal entity and all the AMAs you are doing, because you are showing yourself, and that's pretty important for us. So thank you, it's really appreciated. I would like to expand the idea of purpose, if I have 1 minute, because I was thinking a lot about it. We talked with Wasso in the last AMA in Telegram, and I think that a purpose for Hogecoin would make it something extremely important and different from the other projects out there, because in the first time people invest in coins because of the money and the earnings, and they want to do 10x, 100x, and things like that. But after that trend is ended, or maybe it's more calm, people try to search for other coins. So what I was thinking the last time is, if we can get, because I study marketing, I have been studying marketing for many years now, and I'm trying to think in that way, in what Hoge can make different within other coins, and in that objective, I think that if we can make an emotional connection to the coin, if it isn't faster, it would be in a more stronger. So what I'm trying to mean with this, for example, think of a sports team. When you are born, or when you have a certain age, you pick a sport team, and people usually don't change their sport team because they love it, even if the team loses. So I would love the idea of an emotional connection, and I will expand a little bit more, saying that I would love to think as Hoge as a company that makes things. The last time we talked about charity, but I was trying to think further from that idea, and it can be about further from that idea, and it can be about of esports. Maybe it can sponsors champions of esports, or even it can help to people that have talents in sports to grow. But I think that if I, for example, if I think in stocks, if I think as Hoge as a stock, no, you can think that why people invest in Google, in stocks in Google, or why they invest in stocks in Apple, not because only they are going to earn money, but because those are companies that change the life of many people. So I think that today all of the cryptos are focused on earning money, just earning money. Okay, I invest in Bitcoin, but because I want to earn money and things like that. I think that today all of the cryptos are focused on earning money, just earning money. Okay, I invest in Bitcoin, but because I want to earn money and things like that. Every crypto out there. But if we have Hoge with another purpose, I think people not only are going to enter Hoge because of earning money, but also because Hoge makes life better for, I don't know, a certain kind of people. Sorry, I hope you could understand me, because my English is not as good as it should be.
Don't apologize at all, man. I know exactly who you are, and I've talked to you a couple times in the voice chat, and honestly, I appreciate every single one of our conversations, man.
Okay.
Recon, I definitely cut you off, so I'll let you go. Talk about was a lot of passion, a lot of things people are passionate about. What can you give me a couple examples of things that you think Hoge would be successful if they're able to, partner with?
Well, for example, one of them was charity, but to animals, because all people love cats and dogs, and they suffer when you suffer. I suffer when you see pets that are on the streets or are hurt, or I don't know, maybe it can be from to dogs or cats or anything on the streets, or maybe when an ecological disaster occurs or something like that. But if we go to an opposite, or another, not opposite, but a different way, for example, here in Argentina, I have the joy of organizing some of the most important, different way. For example, here in Argentina, I have the joy of organizing some of the most important FIFA tournaments with Samsung. It was called the WCG. It was World Cyber Games, something like that.
I'm familiar with it.
You know that? Okay. I have been organizing that, and the scene. Well, I'm in Argentina. Of course, you are aiming for a much broader crowd, but here we have one guy that he's called Iceman as a nickname, and he's the top one. Well, in 2020 he was the top one on PlayStation, and
I know who he is. I play FIFA on PS4, and I just got a PS5, and I play FIFA sometimes, and I know exactly who he is.
Okay, his name, and I know him. I have contacts in common because of this organization of FIFA tournaments. And I thought, of course, he's now playing for a Swiss team, I think. But I don't know. Maybe he can give us a lot of. Of course, he has to accept it. But maybe sponsoring him can give Hoge a huge amount of exposition, or maybe we can position ourselves on esporting, but with a purpose. What's the purpose of being in esport, in the esports?
Yeah,
For example,
I hear you, man.
Hey.
So first, I know we went over a little bit on time. So my first comment on that is, you know, for anyone else that wants to continue to come in here and ask questions like us, I love that idea. So Claudio, I know you still hear me. Please, you know, try and use some of your relationships, right? Everyone in the community should try and be going into their own friends, family, coworkers within their own networks and try and spread, you know, the Hoge name. So if you can, you know, please get in contact with him and link him up with me, and you know, we'll make sure the business development team talks to you and him, and we try and find, you know, some middle ground where we're able to work together. But go ahead, Recon. I know you and Code were saying something. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good. It was Claudio. That was a great question. There's just a few things I wanted to unpack too. You're kind of taking us in this sort of vision path. You know, where are we going and the why? How do these things link back to where we want to go as a community too? And these are all bred out of ideas that community members brought to us that just relate to the core values. You know, where are we going and the why? How do these things link back to where we want to go as a community too? And these are all bred out of ideas that community members brought to us that just relate to the core values like charity. That's a big one. And I know JG and the team with J-Rock, all of them and the foundation and our community as well. That wasn't just one team. That was everybody putting into that idea. We even have seen one community member on Reddit do a personal airdrop to random winners. These things, it's just, we're finding the alignment with the community. And if it lines up with another plan that we can put into action with measurable goals and show it, we're ready. But it has to align with the vision. And part of it, I said it earlier, I think I said it before this actually started, but I like seeing everybody come into these chats, ask their questions. I like seeing everybody come into these chats, ask their questions. More importantly, do it as openly as you want. We want to see every community member feel comfortable and be able to flex their own way. Even me, I don't get to use my full skill set every day. Here at Hoge, I can. And I look forward to it just like this. So I'll get back with you as well, Claudio. I'll talk with Wasso after. I think I've got another line of thought with you too about, you know, maybe future vision and how we can align on that too. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there. It's been an hour. It's been an excellent AMA. I hope the next time we can get some of the technical people in, perhaps, or one of something else other than we do hear a lot from the business development side, which stuff would be excellent. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me, and I'd like to invite you all to thank Reconlion and Wasso for joining us and answering the questions. And yeah, we hope to see you again soon. I'll be terminating the stream now. But yes, if people want to hang around and ask questions, that would be awesome, as Wasso and Recon said. And otherwise, you can talk amongst yourselves pretty much. This will just turn into a normal chat channel.
Code,
Thank
I
you.
wanted to say thank you so much, man. You absolutely killed it. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you to the team that supported this in Wasso as well, and the community. Really appreciate you guys coming in and feeling comfortable asking us questions like this. Thank you.
Absolutely. And a call out to Kafers, who was sitting in the background there and fielding us the AMA questions from the text chat through to the briefing room where we were doing stuff. It's a staging area. Anyway, it's been great. It's 5 a.m. for me. I'm off to bed. I hope you all have an excellent day and keep hogling.